Hey everybody, and welcome to another craft tutorial. Today we're going to be working with our silhouette machine and I'm really excited. This is a super easy beginner video that anybody can do, but just because I'm showing you this on the silhouette, you can also do the craft that we're doing on your CRICUT as well. It's really easy, really simple. We're going to make the outline for our little fish here. This is Flounder from The Little Mermaid, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a really cool glitter artwork. This is done just using some Mod Podge, some paintbrushes, glitter, and a frame from the Dollar Tree. So it's a really inexpensive craft and a great one that you can do with the entire family. If you have young kids, you can literally just paint the frame full of Mod Podge and let them go crazy with glitter, and they can make their own fun glitter tie-dye look. Or if you have older kids or yourself, you can do more of a structured piece like this, and you can do any character that you want or any design that you want. So let's get started. This is going to be super fun. For this project, we're going to do this in Silhouette Studio. You guys have been asking for some more Silhouette tutorials, so I thought this one was like a great beginner one because it's pretty easy. But you can do this in Design Space as well. So you can either click File and then Open to find your item, or I just like the drag and drop because it's easier for me to find what I'm looking for that way. So I'm just going to get something out of my CRICUT folder. So I'm going to go into my desktop, and then I'm going to go to my CRICUT folder, and I know that what I want to do is into my Disney folder here, and I'm going to use this picture of Flounder that I have because it's so cute. So all I'm going to do is just drag it and drop it. Once it's into your Silhouette Studio, you can move them around on the mat all you want. Doesn't really matter where you have them right now. Now what you want to do, I have mine already open, but I'll close it really quick. What you want to do is open your trace panel, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the top. I call it a toast. I actually don't know what it's supposed to look like, but I think it looks like a piece of toast. So I click on that. And what you want to do is do the select trace area, and you're going to get this little crosshair, and you want to draw a box that covers all of Flounder. Now, if you miss, that's okay, because I didn't put it quite high enough. So I just want to make a little box that covers all of my Flounder. So I just need to go to select trace area, and then you just want to make sure, like I said, that you cover all of them. I didn't quite have them all covered. Once you have that done, you should be pretty good to go as long as your image is really clear and neat. Mine is pretty neat and clear, but you can kind of play with these thresholds and despeckle thresholds and things like that. But for this one, we're just doing this real simple. So now all we want to do is click right here where it says trace. Just click on that, and you'll see it'll kind of look like it goes away, but it doesn't. Do you see how he's kind of got this red outline? Move the original image off of the mat, and you'll see that you now have an outlined Flounder. Super easy to do, and from here, you can size him any way that you want. So you can size him up here using the width and the height, or you can use the little blocks. If you click on him, you can pull him out. You can make him smaller. You can kind of do whatever you want to do with him, but I want him to be about 6 inches wide. So what you can do is I'm going to click the little lock so that he stays proportional. Click the 6 and just change him so he's just a little bit bigger. I do want him to be pretty big and easy to paint inside of because we're going to make him a glitter paint. Now, you can absolutely change which direction he faces if you would like to. That's completely up to you whether you want to flip him or not. You can easily just right-click and flip horizontally, and then he'll face the other direction because we're going to be doing this on the back of the glass. So if you want him to face a certain way, make sure that you flip him so that he will face the right way on the glass. Now, all we have to do is click Send, and it's going to take us over into our send screen, which is going to give us all of our different options. This one's a really easy cut. I'm cutting this on StarCraft HD. I find that Force 11 and Speed 5 works best. I have mine connected via Bluetooth, and you can see here that we've got everything ready to go. I've selected the vinyl glossy material. It's on the auto blade, and then we have the cut lines there. Now what we're going to do is click Send once we have the mat loaded, but I do need to go load my mat. I'll get that done and I'll click Send, but right here is where you're going to send that to your machine. This is the first time you guys are seeing my Cameo 4 on screen, but here she is. So I do have a mat. It's hard to see, but here's the mat. Their mats are clear and they have a nice grid just like CRICUT. and then they tell you what kind of mat they are on the side. So we're using StarCraft HD in black, and all we want to do is, just like with Cricut, you're just going to load it onto your mat. You want to line it up with the top and the sides of your mat best you can. Keep it nice and even. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it down just like I would any other. And then I've got a little bit of a wrinkle going on, so I'm just going to kind of press that down a little bit. That's more just how I applied it to the mat, but it's not going to cut right there, so I'm not really worried about it. Now, just like with Cricut, you can load it either direction, but I'm going to go ahead and load it this direction. You want to make sure you have it lined up with these little arrows here, and that's with the edge of your mat. And then just like with Cricut, you do want to give it a little pressure from the back, and it'll suck it in. And then we can hit the send button on the computer. Once it's done cutting, hit this little lit up down arrow and it will shoot it out for you. I'm going to go ahead and unload the mat, so I'm going to slide the machine out of the way for us. And just like with Cricut, I do recommend rolling your mat over and kind of peeling your mat from your vinyl. This mat is a whole heck of a lot more like bendy. Do you see how much it, I'll show you, look how much that one flexes compared to the Cricut mat. I actually really love that. So it is a little sticky because this thing is only been probably used maybe 4 or 5 times. So it does take me a second to get this off of my mat, and I do go slowly because, again, I don't want to, trying not to bend my vinyl as much as possible. But again, I really love, because see how, look at this, it's like flat back and it's so easy to peel this off. So I just hold my vinyl down just like I would with my Cricut with my hand, and then I'm going to just gently peel off my mat. But again, once the mat gets a little less sticky, that won't be quite as difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and trim out Flounder here. We don't need a lot of edge because we're really just going to use him as our stencil. So this is going to be so fun. I'm so excited to do this with you guys. And then we can go ahead and weed him. Now, you're going to want to go slow because he does have thin lines. So just take your time when peeling, because you may have some spots where his little thin lines don't want to stay down. So just be aware of that. You just want to go slow. I like to really take my time. So I'm going to go ahead and get this weeded, and then we can get ready to apply it to our glass. We're going to use a Dollar Tree photo frame, so all I'm going to do is go ahead and just take this apart really quick. Go ahead and set the frame and the paperwork and stuff that was inside to the side, so we don't need that right now. And we'll have our frame sitting right here. Now we need to apply our Flounder to the frame. I'm going to use medium tack transfer tape from 143 Vinyl. I'll link everything that we're using to make this down below for you. That way you guys can make your own. And we're going to be using some Mod Podge and StarCraft glitter. So what I'm going to do is roll this out and make sure I've got enough to cover him. And then I'm just going to trim off the piece that I need. Usually I'll stick him down flat on there before rolling, but this time let's try doing it this way. And we'll go ahead and just roll the excess back on to the roll of transfer tape. And then I'm going to cut this tail off over here because we don't need it. And I save these little pieces. They're great for little scrap pieces of vinyl, so I just stick that to the side of my desk. Now all we need to do is put Flounder onto our transfer tape. Just go ahead and stick him right down. Looks good. I'm going to slide the glass out of the way so that I don't have to press on it right now. And all you're going to do is take your squeegee and you want to burnish him down onto your transfer tape. I flip my transfer tape over and then I remove the backing from the vinyl. Now all we need to do is put Flounder onto our glass. Now you want to try to get him centered wherever you want him to sit. It's up to you. And whichever direction you want him to go, if you want him to be tilted a little bit. This is all personal preference, so you're just going to go ahead and apply him to your glass, just like you would any other kind of vinyl. This part's super easy. Make sure that you burnish down all these little spots, like his eyebrows and his eyes, all his little thin lines, and perfect. So then just remove your transfer tape. I always just kind of roll it off of him. Instead of pulling at a straight angle up, I pull it back really, really tight at a really sharp angle and then just slowly roll it off. You can see how easy this comes off. This StarCraft HD loves to stick to glass. It's such a nice vinyl. It's one of my favorites. Perfect. So now what I want you guys to make sure that you do is to pull up a photo of the animal or the creature that you're doing on your phone. So I've got one here of flounder. That way I can see what colors we need to put in what spots. So for him, we needed yellow, 2 shades of blue, a green, 2 reds, and a pink. So I've got all of those colors right here. I didn't do white because I'm just going to leave the white alone. I'm not going to put anything for his eyes, but there's all the colors that we're using, tons of them. But we're doing this with StarCraft glitter. So what I'm going to do is I like to start with the lighter colors first. So I'm actually going to start with his yellow. We're going to be using Mod Podge, which normally I'm not a Mod Podge person, but this is what Mod Podge is made for. This is like the perfect application for it. Also, I highly recommend putting a piece of parchment paper under your glass before you get started. I'm going to go ahead and slide these glitters off of the parchment paper. This is just an easy way to clean up glitter after you're done. So what I'm going to do is pull my cap off, and I'm just going to use just a cheapo paintbrush, nothing fancy. You don't want to use a good paintbrush for this. Just a nice cheap paintbrush. Got these off of Amazon. I'll link them. And all you want to do is paint the Mod Podge into the spots that are going to be yellow. You want to make sure that you keep this inside the lines at all times, except you can kind of paint over like his little eyebrows and stuff. Those little thin lines that are just accent lines, you can paint right over. But everything else, you want to make sure that you're staying inside those lines so that you're not getting any of the yellow glitter any place that doesn't get yellow. If you do accidentally paint over a line, you can just take a little paper towel and wipe it right off. I'm going to go ahead and paint this, and then I'll show you guys how to apply the glitter. Once you are pretty sure that you got all the parts that you needed to, you are going to go ahead and sprinkle your glitter. Now again, if you miss some spots, don't worry, because we're going to put a second coat. So I'm using, this one is Itty Bitty Bikini by StarCraft, and I'm going to use the shaker side of this just so I can make sure that I get a decent coverage of glitter. And then I'm just going to shake a bunch of glitter, and this is a fine glitter. It's beautiful. So I'm just going to shake a bunch of that over our flounder. Now this doesn't always work shaking this way, so sometimes just a tapping motion can really help get your glitter out of your jar a little bit easier. And like I said, don't worry, we're going to do another coat. We're not going to just stick with one coat because this is a pretty light colored glitter, so we just want to make sure that we get a good coat on him. So you just want to make sure you cover all the spots that you got with the Mod Podge, and you want to give it a pretty heavy coat. You just want to make sure that you've got everything well covered all the way over to those edges. And good. Once you have that good coating, you'll take your glass, and you want to do this very carefully. You can do this on acrylic as well, but you want to lift your glass up, and this is sharp, so be very careful if you're using glass. And all I do is I just tip it down, and then I just tap it. And I just tap it really, really lightly onto the parchment paper. Now again, you can see he's kind of blobby and streaky, and you can really see through him. Even if I flip him this way, it's really, really see-through. So we're going to do another coat, but we're going to need to let this coat dry for a little while. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and let this dry by itself. I'm going to put the rest of the glitter that's left over right back into our jar, and then we'll do another coat here in just a few minutes. Okay, we've let him dry for a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and take the same brush that I was just using, and I'm going to go ahead and dip that in the Mod Podge again and just gently give him another coat. Your second coat will be a little bit easier to see like where you've covered, because the Mod Podge will definitely leave a like a whiter area behind, so you'll be able to really easily see where you have coated. Now I did brush off a lot of loose glitter from him, and I am more so dabbing than wiping as I go. And again, you just want to be really cautious not to get Mod Podge anywhere that you don't want yellow glitter. Again, going all the way up into the edges. And this coat is going to be a little bit thicker than the other coat, just because this is going to be our second coat. You can usually go thicker on that second. I like to do a nice light coat to begin with, and then I up the game as I go. I just find that works a little bit better for me. But as you do this, you'll start to figure out what works really well for you. And then you just want to kind of even it out. You don't want like a lot of clumps of the Mod Podge. So I just sort of try to even it out a little bit as I go. And I can see there's spots where I absolutely missed a whole bunch of space, so I just want to make sure to pay extra close attention, making sure that I cover all of him. Now you'll see that there is some loose glitter over his eyes and stuff. If you have stuff like this where it's like loose glitter, you can just kind of take a clean brush. You don't use one that you use Mod Podge on, and then I just brush it off of his eyes so I can see them better. And then you'll end up getting some glitter all over your brush, but that's okay. You can always pour the Mod Podge into a little cup if you'd prefer, so that you don't infect the rest of it with glitter, but I don't typically end up with a lot of extra glitter in my Mod Podge, so it's not such a big deal. Now I did get a little bit in his eye, so I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that out. And again, we're just going to come through with a thicker coat. Tap off this next section of glitter. Let me just move the brushes out of the way. Now again, you can see how he's can you see how he's like white and gooey? It's because it's not dry, so don't worry. We're gonna let him dry off. I'm just gonna tap him a little bit, and then I'm gonna take that clean brush that we have, and I'm gonna go ahead and dust off all of the spots that yellow glitter shouldn't be in. And I like to do this while it's still a little bit wet. That way it's, you know, if there's a little edge or something, I can kind of cover it with some of this loose glitter. But what I do is I just sort of go through and go around and just dust off as much of the glitter off to the top, you know, and around him as I can. You can see how much was in spots that like stuck to, because static, that didn't, you know, doesn't get yellow glitter. So I'm just going to go around the edge of the design and just get all that glitter pushed off. And you can go in and get like his eyes and stuff and just kind of brush. Just give it like a quick little little brush over. You don't have to be too crazy. And then you just want to get in like to his mouth and give that a quick brush over. And I like to try to brush it down so that when I go to take all of this off, it won't get stuck on his spots anymore. So same thing over here, I'm just going to brush through. So let me go ahead and brush all this off, and then we can let this dry, and this will need to dry for a bit. And once this is dry, we can move on to our next color. Now we're going to reassemble our frame. So I've just got our Dollar Tree frame here. And then I have our flounder. We let him dry overnight. This side's going to look a little bit weird, so don't worry, because you can't really see any of those black lines. Go ahead and place that into your frame. And then you can use any cardstock you want. I'm going to use this fun holographic from Michaels. I'm just going to slide that right in. And then you want to make sure that you have the tabs in the right spot as far as like up and down. And then just go ahead and put these right down just to lock the frame in place. And then do the reveal. Look how cute he is. He came out so fun, and he's so sparkly. And I love that holographic background. I think that really makes him pop. If you guys have any questions about this or any of the other crafts that we are going to do, go ahead and just leave those in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure to subscribe to my newsletter over at CorinneBlackstone.com. This is such a fun craft that you can do with the entire family. I hope you guys had so much fun. Have a great day, and happy crafting.